On a moonless night in Jakarta, a lone train whistle pierces the mist. Some say it's the Bintaro train ghost, returning to the site of the deadliest railway wreck in Indonesian history. One chilling October dawn in 1987 at 7:05 a.m. Two passenger trains crashed head-on just south of Jakarta. In seconds, steel and flesh were mangled, and 139 souls were lost. Legend says their spirits never found peace, and on dark, haunted tracks, their wails can still be heard. Monday, October 19, 1987. A typical rush hour. Overcrowded morning commuters fill the Jakarta suburb of Bintaro. At Sudamara Station, human error spelled disaster. A station master mistakenly cleared a northbound train, KA 225, to depart, unaware that all tracks were already occupied. Moments later, the Merak-bound KA 225 barreled out and tragically met the oncoming KA 220, Tanah Abang Rangkas Bitung, on a single track. Witnesses later recalled the scene. One engineer blew his warning horn frantically to stop KA 225, but it was too late. The impact was apocalyptic, a head-on collision that tore the trains apart. Telescoping steel crushed carriages and bodies together. In an instant, dozens of lives were extinguished. By day's end, officials recorded 139 confirmed dead and 254 injured, making it Indonesia's worst rail disaster. Families scoured hospitals for missing loved ones. They identified bodies line by line at the crash site. Local lore would name this grim Monday Senin Kelabu, Gray Monday. It seared itself into the nation's memory. President Suharto himself visited the wounded that night. But amid the concrete and chaos, something else lingered. An ominous presence on those tracks. At exactly 7:05 a.m., two steel monsters collided head-on. The first passenger carriage of KA 225 literally swallowed the locomotive of KA 220. Steel sheared and snapped. Twisted beams jabbed into the morning light. Passengers who'd clung to roof and sides were hurled into the destruction. The telescoping force was horrific. The entire body of one locomotive was consumed by the foremost car of the other. Inside, a freight-filled coach shot through, crushing the engine like a tin canopus. The wreckage became a tomb of crumpled seats, snapped axles, and pools of blood. Rescuers raced in. Amid the twisted metal, one man was trapped, alive but pierced by debris. He cried out in agony, "Help me, sir. I'm still alive. Oh God, it hurts so badly. Please," he wailed. His voice, terrified and pleading, echoed through the wreck. A young man named Topik bin Said lay pinned, half buried in a collapsed coach. Thousands watched as crews freed him, only to hear his final heartbreaking call for help. Around them, anguished screams rose, a child's sob, a mother's desperate plea. Then silence as they succumbed to the carnage. By the time daylight fully broke, the toll was brutally clear. 139 killed, 254 maimed or wounded. Bodies were stacked from locomotive to carriage. Investigators later confirmed a cascade of human errors. Two trains that should never have met, both left their stations against orders. In the aftermath silence, many whispered that this inferno of steel and suffering had stirred something beyond the physical. In the weeks after the crash, Strange rumors flickered among the locals. Some claimed to hear weeping on the tracks late at night. Others spoke of a lone rolling head glimpsed among the weeds near Pondok Bitung, as if a victim still spun along the rail side. Tales spread of a woman in torn clothes standing at dusk on the station platform, her eyes empty sockets, sobbing into the dark. Even seasoned rescuers reported chills. One crew member swore he felt unseen hands touch him as he crawled through the wreckage, though no one was there. These whispers echoed old beliefs. In Indonesian folklore, a violent or untimely death can create an arwah penasaran, a restless spirit doomed to wander. By tradition, souls denied a peaceful rest on earth linger near their place of death, seeking closure. The Bintaro crash produced scores of such souls. Some families held midnight prayers by the tracks, lighting incense for the departed. The trackside cemetery, Tanah Kusir, became a gathering place for mourning, yet many believed the spirits did not remain silent. One local witness described the haunting atmosphere. Sometimes at night I hear footsteps and cries, but when I look, there is nothing. It feels like the lost souls are calling out, she said. Station workers joked nervously that the trains had swallowed more than passengers, now carrying the unsatisfied dead. The haunted Bintaro line had begun its legend. The cries seemed to lament what was lost, lives, innocence, and the answers they never got.
Decades passed, but the rumors only grew stranger. In 2013, on a morning strikingly similar to that cursed Monday, tragedy struck again at Bintaro. A commuter train collided with a gasoline tanker at the same spot. 7 perished that day. Locals pointed at the calendar. Monday, December 9, eerily like 1987. If this was coincidence or curse, the old whispers turned to shouts. Even everyday commuters have tales now. A tour company once braved nightfall at Bintaro for a haunted railway excursion. 47 participants posed for a photo on the tracks, and seconds later, a train roared around the corner, nearly hitting them. No one was hurt, but the group panicked and fled. We thought for sure it was the curse, one shaken tourist later recalled. On ordinary days, passengers have reported phantom phenomena. A Bintaro-bound driver swears his train car filled with a sudden scent of burning plastic and saw shadows dart across the rails, though the line was empty. Others spoke of a pale boy and girl who vanished between cars, a cold hand briefly resting on a lap, or even the sound of a crash replaying in their ears as they passed the site. One commuter laughed. I could hear metal screeching behind me, but when I looked, nothing. These modern encounters are often exchanged online in hushed forums and whispered conversations. Tales of a ghost train crash replaying on loop for anyone brave enough to listen. Perhaps the strangest is a story found online. A night student named Bimo missed the last scheduled train at Manggarai station and waited outside. After some minutes, another train arrived, filled entirely with silent, pale-faced passengers. Curious, Bimo hopped aboard. For 40 minutes, the train sped into darkness. He dozed through the journey. When he awoke at Depok station, no staff were there. Suddenly, a guard rushed at him. Confused, Bimo asked the time. It was nearly 5 a.m. What train did you catch? The guard demanded. Bimo showed the newspaper he'd picked up. Its date was 1953. No modern record showed any departure. He had been on a ghost ride. Since then, many say a phantom service now runs late at night, a Kereta Arwah ghost train, leaving Manggarai station and heading straight toward the Bintaro wreck site. Why do these hauntings persist? Indonesians are famously superstitious. and the Bintaro rails lie thick with history and tragedy. Many view it through the lens of folklore and faith. According to local belief, the Bintaro crash unleashed hantu kareta, spirit entities tied to the railroad. Traditionalists say the railway is too haunted to be safe. Each ghost tale is woven into a tapestry of warnings. Folklore offers a kind of explanation. For example, some old stories say malignant spirits will cover a traveler's ears on the tracks, rendering them deaf to an approaching train. Without the warning whistle, the traveler is doomed. Others speak of the arwah penasaran themselves pulling trains toward Bintaro's haunts. One tale goes, if you stand on the tracks at midnight, you might see glowing lights on an empty engine, the echo of trains that went to their deaths. These beliefs aren't mere superstition to many. They're woven into daily life. Villagers avoid whistling near the tracks, leave offerings on the anniversary of the crash, and pray for the arwah at candlelit vigils. Even pop culture reflects these ideas. The 1989 film tragedy Bintaro, and later the horror movie Dendam Arwah Rel Bintaro 2013 dramatize the haunted line. They depict exactly these legends, a skull-headed specter on the tracks and a train that lurches into the station by itself. A modern-day railway worker noted wryly, after Bintaro, we respect the tracks more. You never know what might be watching. For others, there are technical explanations. Indonesia's old signaling system was purely mechanical, prone to human error, and trains did often overflow with riders on the roof. In this view, the hauntings are memories given life by grief, not ghosts. But to the believers, logic and ghosts often walk hand in hand. A spiritual healer in Jakarta once said, "The line has become an axis of angry spirits. The living must pay respect, or the dead will remind us of their pain."
Decades on, the Bintaro rails remain a puzzle. Track upgrades and new signals were added, and a station was built between Kebaran and Sudamara to prevent another collision. Yet incidents keep happening here on Mondays, fueling the legend. The 2013 tanker crash occurred on a Monday, just 26 years later. Minor derailments and accidents at Sudamara surface regularly in the news. Even skeptics feel unsettled. A veteran engineer admitted, "Every time I take that route on Monday, I say a prayer." No investigation will ever answer whether it's curse, coincidence, or something beyond understanding. The mystery lingers on the quiet rails. Locals and train buffs debate endlessly, are these true specters or the power of suggestion in over-caffeinated commuters? One rider said, "Whether ghosts are real or not, Bintaro will never feel the same to us. It's as if the past breathes on the metal." As the sun sets and a train car clatters past the tombstones of history, the unanswered questions drift into the night. The Bintaro tracks, drenched in blood and sorrow, hold their secrets tightly. Are those silhouettes in the distance simply rusted figures of old freight cars, or are they the faint outline of a ghost train crash, replaying its final scene? Tonight we leave the haunted Bintaro tracks behind, but the spirits and the questions follow us home. Did we glimpse something in the dark? Did a restless soul ride with us on this journey? Only time or another midnight on the rails will tell.
If you've been drawn into this chilling mystery, share it with fellow seekers of the supernatural. Follow Lucifer's Grave for more deep dives into Indonesia's darkest legends. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep these ghosts alive. Until next time, keep your ears open on Lonely Tracks.